At number 10, we have Honest Abe. Let's start off this list with a ghost that could never tell a lie. The ghostly sightings of Abraham Lincoln is probably the most reported. A lot of people who come through on tours or who are living in the residence say that they've seen the tall man with a beard who looks very similar to Abraham Lincoln. When they try to approach this figure, he disappears into thin air. I hope his ghost is still around. I want him to see what freeing the slaves did. He probably is listening to the latest Kendrick Lamar album like, oh yeah, this was the right call. This whole album is fire. What I want to know is whether he looks like a regular old Honest Abe or if he has a massive bullet hole in his head from that time he got shot. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I guess he could always put his hat on to cover it. At number 9, we have Andrew Jackson. Most of this list is probably going to be dead presidents or political people. That might be kind of fun. After you die, you get to hang out with politicians from the past. They would all have crazy war stories and you could talk about how they helped America. Well, some of them would talk about how they helped America. The others would talk about how they screwed over America. It would be a range of perspectives is what I'm saying. I don't know enough about American history to know where Andrew Jackson stood, but I do know that his ghost has been seen throughout the White House. Not only seen, but heard as well. Apparently he likes to stomp around and yells quite a bit, and he's not a very polite ghost. Some guests have said they've heard him swearing. Maybe he's upset about how America's developing, or he could just be watching the Nationals game. At number 8, we have David Burns. It's not just dead presidents that get to stick around the White House for eternity. If you got a big enough grudge against the president's home, then your spirit might just march in there and demand justice. David Burns was a man who was forced to give up his land rights for the construction of the White House. That would piss me off too, to be honest. I would be like, you can build it anywhere else. It was 1790. You know how much land there is up for grabs? Just go take it. Well, he was really salty about this, and in the end he got a way better deal because his ghost gets to live in the White House. Security officers have reported hearing a disembodied voice say, "I am David Burns." If I was a ghost in the White House, I would do stuff like poop with the door open and try on all the president's suits. At number 7, we have a demonic cat. Ghosts and demons are in the same vein, and this one was too spooky to leave off this list. So apparently in the basement of the White House there is a demonic cat. If you ever come across this thing, it will first look like an adorable black kitten, but as it moves closer to you, it will start to grow and change until it becomes a horrifying monstrosity and probably makes you pee your pants. Now, this spooky demonic force had never harmed anyone, but its presence is apparently attached to a major disaster about to strike America. The cat was seen before the stock market crashed in the 1920s, which caused the Great Depression, and once again before Kennedy was assassinated. At number 6, we have Abigail Adams. Abigail is one of the best old-timey names of all time. Whenever I hear Abigail, I think of people living on a farm in the 1800s and all they have for light is like a little oil lamp that if it falls over it'll burn down their whole life. But this Abigail isn't just any ghost, it's the ghost of Abigail Adams, who was the wife of former President John Adams. She has been seen walking through the building, seen in mirror reflections in the bathroom, and she has also been seen carrying laundry, which is not a joke. This is true. The ghost of Abigail Adams has been carrying piles of ghostly laundry. Like, girl, you're dead, your clothes can't get dirty anymore. And if there's any time you should stop doing chores, it's in the afterlife. Could you imagine being stuck folding laundry as a ghost? But on the same token, I would love to have a ghost in my home that does all my chores for me. That would be amazing. At number 5, we have the young African American woman. We've got a mystery ghost on our hands. The ghostly figure of an African American woman has been seen in the White House, which is a nice change of pace, a little diversity in there. The reason she is a mystery is because no one knows the origin of this ghost, but she has been seen several times. Some people think that she could be the ghost of a former slave or perhaps the mistress of a former president. The people who have seen her said that she is usually wearing a yellow dress and seems to have on some fancy shoes. This could count out her being the ghost of a slave because she's dressed so nice. At number 4, we have William Henry Harrison. Dying while you were still president is a surefire way to make sure your ghost will want to stick around in the Oval Office. From what I understand, ghosts are created when someone has unfinished business, and not finishing your term as president is pretty much as unfinished as it gets. William Henry Harrison caught pneumonia and bit the dust, making him the first president to die while still in office, and he also served the shortest term ever, which was only 31 days. On one side, that's a huge bummer. You finally win and then you die. On the other side, you got to die on top. There's not really a better place to die than as the leader of a country. It doesn't get much better than that. Now his ghost has been seen clomping around. Apparently his favorite place to hang out is the attic. I mean, he was the president all the way back in the 1840s. He's probably a little bit of an old fogey. I bet he likes to have his alone time, and I can't imagine he has a lot in common with the other ghosts in the building. This guy wants to talk about the dangers of pneumonia and everyone's like, dude, we get it, we have penicillin now, you can chill out. At number 3, we have Willie Lincoln. The son of Abraham Lincoln died when he was just 11 years old. The cause of death was a train wreck. Obviously this this was very hard for his mother and father to bear. His mother, especially Mary Lincoln, couldn't handle losing her son at such a young age. She wanted to bring him back, to have just a few more moments with him before he moved on to the other side. So she started hosting seances in the White House. I'm not sure how the voters felt about that. I'm pretty sure witchcraft was frowned upon back then, but losing her child is one of the worst things that can happen to a person. After performing this ritual, Mary said her son came to visit her in the night. Some people think that the ghost still walks the halls to this day. At number 2, we have Dolly Madison. She is one of the many former first ladies and has left her mark on America maybe forever. On the White House property, there is one of the most beautiful rose gardens, and it was planted by Dolly Madison way back in the 19th century. It stood the test of time, but there was one lady who did try to change the whole layout of the garden. Ellen Wilson wasn't a big fan of all those roses, and she wanted to get the whole garden flipped so she could do her own spin on the place. Apparently, when the workers came to dig up all the vegetation, the ghost of Dolly Madison appeared and they were too afraid to keep working. Her ghost showed up and was like, "Excuse me? I don't think you are going to take away my roses. Do you know how hard it was to get all these roses in here back in 1810? The garden stays." At number 1, we have the haunted fireplace. For the number 1 spot, we have one of the funniest haunted things I could find. This story comes from the mouth of Jenna Bush, who is of course the daughter of former President George W. Bush. She said that one night she was sleeping in the White House and the fireplace in her room started blasting some sort of 1920s sounding music. So there was either a ghost playing some old-timey music or a party going on behind a secret door that was behind the fireplace. That would freak me out. Another time she said the same thing happened, but it sounded like opera music. After this happened a few times, we'd be like, "Hey, do you have like any black keys or at least something off the top 40? Like if you're gonna keep me up all night, can you at least play something that I know the words to?" Coming in at number 10, we have They're Always Cold. Bro, are you good? It's summertime and your skin feels like you've been hanging out in the walk-in freezer from McDonald's. Now some people are just cold. They run cold like lizards or something. Some people have different disorders and this causes their bodies to be cold all the time, which might be nice in a heat wave but would suck in the winter. But what you want to be on the lookout for is if they bring a cold wave with them. Like when they sit down next to you, a wave of cold energy rushes through your body and the hair on the back of your neck stands up and your entire body gets covered in goosebumps. Well, unless you're friends with Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th, this shouldn't be normal. Friends are supposed to bring a warm glow to your life that make you feel all nice inside. Unless they're one of those friends that you hate but you're still friends with them. Like, why do we do that? It's a weird thing that we do all the time. Coming in at number 9, we have They Never Age. Here's a fun fact about ghosts. They're dead. And dead things don't get any older. They stay young because they're dead. And that's one way to make sure you keep your youthful glow. Become a ghost. But if you have been pals with someone for 20 years and they still look as good as the day you met them, well, you should first ask them what their skincare routine is and maybe what they eat, because if they aren't a ghost, that is going to be some useful information. But if they don't have a solid answer for that, there's a chance that this person's aging process has been locked in place because there is no decomposition once you are a spectral being. Coming in at number 8, we have Pets Hate Them. I gotta say, this is a warning sign for whether or not you get to stay around me. Honestly, I don't care if you're a ghost or not. But if I bring you around dogs and you don't like dogs, or the dogs act weird around you, then I will never trust you. That's a J tip for you. But for some reason, it seems that all pets freak out whenever a ghost or demon or anything supernatural is around. Now, why does this happen? Well, we're talking about ghosts here, so everything we're bringing to the table is on the table of speculation. There's not a lot of science behind ghost logic, but it seems that animals are much more sensitive to things from the other side, and they can see them as threatening. Just like how a dog can hear noises that you can never hear, they can also feel ghosts and know that they're up to no good. Apparently, if a ghost is nice, animals won't freak out around them, but they will actually be welcoming to the spirit. So this might not be a surefire way to call out your ghostly friend, but your spirit buddy might become best friends with Fido. Who knows? Coming in at number 7, we have They Have Dreams of Their Death. A lot. I mean, I think we all have dreams where we die, and they don't mean anything. Unless the cosmic owl is there, then you have to take that dream seriously, because that could be your croak dream. But if you have a friend who's constantly having the same dream over and over again, and this dream is of their death, and they can tell you very specific details about the dream, then this is super creepy, and you should probably tell them that they should go talk to someone about this, because I don't know if we're all equipped to deal with that information. But this could be happening happening because your ghostly pal is unknowingly trying to get you to investigate their death. And you can look at this one of two ways. You could see this as something super creepy and you might want to get rid of your ghost friend, or you could be like, hell yeah, it's a murder solving time, and then you go and crack the case on how your ghost friend died, and then they can rest in peace once it's solved. But then they're gonna be gone forever once you solve the case. Did I just write a Disney movie? Coming in at number 6, we have no one else can see them. Do you bring your friend around to some of your other groups and no one talks to them? Does no one even remember them being there? Do they get ignored everywhere they go? Well, first you should try and help your friend with their confidence, because it seems like they have some major self-esteem issues. Like, come on, dude, just talk to people. The people here are cool, I swear. But if you give them a hand with their ability to approach people and people still don't seem to respond to them at all, then either all of your friends are jerks and they should learn how to be more accepting to new friends, or your pal is a spooky ghost and no one can see them. It's really a 50-50 split on this one. Coming in at number 5, we have they seem like they're from a different time. We all have that friend who's like, I was born in the wrong time, take me back to the 50s. I want to go to a sock hop and feel discrimination at its fullest. Yeah, if I ever get my hands on a time machine, you can bet that the only place I'm going is the future. I want to do whatever cool stuff they got going on over there. I don't need any old-timey thoughts from the past get me down. The only reason I would go back in time is to invest some money in Google. But I digress. If your friends seem like they have some very old sensibilities, maybe they dress like they're from a bygone era. Maybe they have political opinions that seem dated, like super dated. Like they have a strong opinion on how many horses one household should be allowed to own, or whether or not you should be able to pay your taxes with bread. Well, this might be because they are from a different time and they've been dead for so long. Coming in at number 4, we have they smell weird. You got a stinky friend? First, go tell them to have a shower. Maybe introduce them to a nice shampoo or a moisturizer, something that will give them a good smell. There's a lot of ways you can help someone not stink as much. You could tell them to sweat more. Maybe they need to clean their pores, which is a real thing. You should look it up. Maybe they're just bad at doing their laundry and all their clothes have that weird moldy smell. Or maybe they're a ghost and they're holding on to some weird ghost smells. Well, it turns out that when people die, sometimes their ghost might have smells in relation to their death. Like, does your buddy always smell like a campfire and you can't figure out why? Well, even though you might love that smell, they might stink that way because they were burned alive. Just saying. Coming in at number 3, we have they can't use electronics. Does your friend not have a phone? Well, they might just be one of those people who's afraid of the government tracking all of their movements, which is a very real fear because we all know that our phones are listening to us all the time and every one of us is being data mined like a little money factory. So if your friend doesn't want to get a phone, just let them have this one. But if you give your friend your phone and they try to use it or any other electronics and they don't work no matter what, like they just start to glitch out and turn off, this could be because your pal is giving off some spectral energy. For whatever reason, ghosts have a hard time using electronics. Their spooky presence will short circuit everything around them. So if your friend keeps breaking the TV, they might be a ghost. Coming in at number 2, we have they are overly attached to you. Does your new pal want to hang out a little too much? Does it seem like they have no other friends? Do they want to see you at all hours no matter what is going on? Well, they might have separation anxiety, or they could also be a ghost. See, it's not easy for a ghost to make friends. Most people don't even know that they are real, and even people who do believe in ghosts can't even see them. So you could very well be their only friend and they need to talk to you because they have no one else to talk to. And coming in at the number 1 spot, we have you see other dead people. Is this a common occurrence for you? Do you have old crazy wizard eyes like the Ice King and you see a whole bunch of weird jacked up stuff all the time? Well, I hate to break it to you, but that's super cool and you should use your powers for good, not evil. I mean, that's a personal choice, but if you're a person who can talk to ghosts, please don't bring more evil into the world. But you might have a ghost that has slipped its way into your already spiritual life. I'm not a medium, so I have no idea how hard it is to tell the difference between the spirit world and the real world, but ghosts might be getting smarter. Also, they have no one else to hang out with other than other ghosts. So they might want to break from all the ghouls talking about how much it sucks to be dead all the time, and they might want to talk to a fleshy person about how good the new flavor of Mountain Dew is. P.S. That is the main thing that ghosts want to know. If Mountain Dew found a way to sell the dew to dead people, they would by far be the biggest soda company. That is a fact.
Starting us off with number 10 is the elevator ghost. Now when I first saw this video, nothing was really happening for the longest time, so I genuinely thought it was just gonna be a waste of my time, but then it was like a mic drop happened. To preface this, the owner of the footage is adamant that the footage is 100% authentic and real, so let's just take that and discuss. Now the CCTV footage was from February of 2008, and you can see two workers talking while waiting for the elevator. They eventually get into the elevator and talk some more, can't believe we're working overtime again, doesn't the boss suck, I didn't even get a Christmas bonus this year, etc, etc, you know how it is. And mind you, while they're talking, both guys are leaning against a little railing in the elevator. They reach their floor and they both leave, but as the one on the left lets go of the railing to leave, you see this white ghost zombie figure that is left behind, almost like the man was standing in the ghost, or vice versa. The men leave, not even realizing what was in the elevator with them the whole time, and this ghost has its skull hanging down really low and is walking very, very slowly out of the elevator as well. Now I don't even know how this could have been a hoax, because the ghost is literally there as soon as the man moves. Like, it wasn't edited, there was no compartment it could have been hiding in. I just don't see any fakeness in it, I just see horror. Let me know what you guys think. Fake or nah? Coming in at number 9 is the brown lady, and this photograph might be the most well-known ghost photo ever taken, ever. Now the infamous picture was captured back in 1936 by photographers who were documenting 17th century Raynham Hall in Norfolk, England for a magazine. It said that the photographer Captain Hubert had his head under the focusing cloth, so he wasn't really paying attention, but his assistant Indre Shearer exclaimed that she saw a veiled form gliding down the stairs and told him to quickly take a picture. Now he took the picture, but when he got out from under the focusing cloth to see for himself, the life form was nowhere to be found, which made him think Indre had made up the whole thing. But when the photo got developed, it was so very clearly in the middle of the staircase that it's actually astonishing. A full white pale shadow of an apparition that people think is Lady Dorothy Townshend. Dorothy died in the early 1800s from chickenpox, but other stories circulated saying her husband locked her in a bedroom forever because she committed adultery. That is a saucy story for a saucy ghost. At number 8 we have CCTV footage. So back in 2014 in New Mexico, surveillance footage at a police station revealed what appeared to be a ghost gliding along from the right side of the room to the left. Now according to officers, that area was completely secured, the gates were locked, none of the alarms went off or were tripped, so a real human being definitely did not make their way inside. Honestly, I don't know why we're giving this ghost a hard time and calling it out on the news. Like, maybe it was just a law-abiding ghost and it was just patrolling the station to keep it safe. Maybe it was a police officer when it was alive, so it was just having a nostalgic night. We don't know its story. Who are we to judge? Carry on, young ghost. On your way. Do what you were doing. Carry on. Shoo. Filling at number 7 slot is the baby crib menace. Back in March of this year, a couple based in Michigan captured a blurry pale spirit form of some kind moving past their daughter Lily's crib. The footage caught on the baby monitor literally shows a white pale figure gliding past, and the couple even claimed that Lily sustained unexplainable scratches on her body after the incident, which they obviously blamed on the ghost. Nah, B, if a ghost is terrorizing my kid, you bet I would go ghost hunter on its ass and literally find a way to banish it into the ether, back into the afterlife, back to whatever hell it escaped from. Not on my watch, Casper. You ain't getting my kid. No, no. Now at number 6 is Lord Cumbermere. Amateur photographer Sybil Corbett set up a camera at the Cumbermere Abbey Library located in Cheshire, England. She took an hour-long exposure while the funeral of her brother-in-law Lord Cumbermere was happening 4 miles away. Now the Lord had died in a riding accident and was being buried simultaneously, but somehow when the photos were developed, an apparition can be clearly seen sitting on the seat in the photo, and people speculated that it was Lord Cumbermere since the chair was actually actually his when he was alive. On the other side, skeptics say a servant entered the room and sat in the seat while the exposure took place, and that's what the apparition was. But most, if not all, the staff was at the funeral itself anyway, and the apparition is wearing a collared shirt, which I don't think a servant would wear or could afford at the time, so I mean, I think the skeptics are very much wrong. Sorry. Haters gon' hate. Haters be sipping on that haterade. Coming in at number 5 is the ghostly pupper. I know this list is meant to be horrifying and scary, but I mean, I found a ghost dog captured on film and it's honestly really cute, so I couldn't not include it. And I know there's enough dog lovers out watching this right now that I'd be forgiven, so I'm not even sorry. So anyway, the story of these dogs was written in the 1939 print of Life magazine, and it goes like this. The owner of this dog actually had 2 dogs, a cute little white terrier and a large other breed of dog, and both puppers were best friends. What a cute story. Sadly, the terrier died and the big dog was absolutely heartbroken, and I mean, that's very understandable. No one's trying to lose their best friend. Now, a psychic photographer snapped a photo of the owner and the big dog, and you can very clearly see the spirit of the little dog hovering on the backside of the bigger one. It's like its head is just resting on the big dog's tailbone, and I thought this was so cute. Like, the little one just misses the big one too. They both just miss each other. It's a very cute, heartwarming story. And we need that for number 5. A nice palate cleanser, you guys. At number 4 is Madonna. Not like a virgin Madonna, she's very much still alive, let's not get it twisted. This is Madonna of Bachelor's Grove. Now, this photo was taken by the Ghost Research Society of America when they visited the abandoned Bachelor's Grove cemetery back in 1991. Mary Huff was taking black and white infrared photographs on the site, and despite crazy readings being observed on her equipment, no one saw anything out of the ordinary. But when the film got developed, one photograph revealed a woman sitting on a tombstone on her own. She was wearing out-of-date clothing and was staring into the distance, so we don't really know what was going on with her. Was it her tombstone she was sitting on while contemplating why she was dead? Was she sitting on her mother's tombstone, her father's, her lover's? We have no idea, but she was very clearly captured, very clearly there. What's your story, Madonna? Filling our number 3 slot are the faces in the water. Now, this one requires some backstory, so let's take it back. Back in December of 1924, James Courtney and Michael Meehan, 2 crewmen of the SS Watertown, had a freak accident on their vessel. The men were cleaning the cargo tank of the oil tanker but were suffocated by gas fumes and died quite quickly. They were buried at sea near the Mexican coast, but the next day one of the crew members reported seeing James and Michael's faces in the waves. The man saw their faces for a solid 10 seconds before they faded away, and it kept happening over the course of the next few days. When the vessel arrived in New Orleans, the paranormal events were relayed to the crew's employers, and they suggested trying to photograph the occurrence. Employers just don't care. They're like, oh, photograph that, I can sell it for millions. Goodbye. So Captain Tracy bought a camera for the rest of the trip, and when the faces did appear again, they captured this image. And ironically, after the crew of the ship changed, the sightings were no longer reported either. So I mean, maybe these two were just playing a really sick joke on their former crewmen. They're like, ha ha ha, we may be dead, but at least we're having a good time. Now at number 2 is the little boy, and this picture was captured so clearly that I'm still like, is this Photoshop? Is this actually real? You guys tell me. So back in 2008, Neil Sandbach, a photographer, was on a farm in Hertfordshire taking pictures for a couple who wanted to have their wedding at the location. When Neil was going through his digitals later on, he saw one picture that had what appeared to be a glowing ghost figure of a little boy peeking out from the corner of the building. And can you see he's so clearly there? I can even make out his facial features, which creeped me out even more because his face looks more like a skull than it does a face. The couple later asked the farm staff if they had ever seen anything paranormal or weird at the farm, and a lot of them shared that they had seen a young boy in white night clothes. So I mean, say no more. I hope you didn't have your wedding there. That's just not a good omen to start your married life on. You know what I mean? Ghosts of little boys? No. I'm trying for happily ever after, not happily never after. You know what I mean? And finally, at number 1 is the man. This footage was captured on a car's dash cam in Thailand's Suratani province back in 2018. It was about 2:30 in the morning, and this car is just going down the highway when a man in blue shorts and a white shirt literally materializes out of nowhere. The car goes right through the man, and when the man turned around to check, the ghost was nowhere to be found. I just don't get how he appeared from literally nothing. He just came out of the ether. Most people who've seen the footage think it was a ghost, whereas skeptics think it was a shadow being reflected in front of the car somehow, which I mean, make that make sense to me. I don't understand how that works. Reflection of what? The rear view mirrors are pointed behind you. What is reflecting in front of me? Please tell me. Exactly, that's what I thought. And I'm not even a car mechanic.